Protagonist Tanjiro goes on a trip to the nearby town to sell some charcoal. His mother and little siblings all bid him farewell as he leaves, raising their death flags immediately. And this is where everything goes wrong. Because it was snowing too much, he had to take shelter somewhere else during the night. That night, he could feel in his bones that something was wrong. When he returned, he finds his family slaughtered. They were all ruthlessly butchered. In just a single night, Tanjiro had lost everything. Or at least, so he thought. He realizes that his sister Nezuko is still alive. But even that sigh of relief was short-lived, because Nezuko had turned into a demon. Things escalate very quickly from here on out. Nezuko first launches at Tanjiro. He somehow manages to keep himself from getting killed, and then successfully makes Nezuko realize that regardless of what happened, she has to retain her humanity. Nezuko starts tearing up, but then someone important shows up. His name is Gyu, and he is here to kill the demon. And by demon, I mean Nezuko. Fortunately, Gyu is chill enough to understand the situation, and so he recommended to our boy Tanjiro to go train with his sensei, Urodaki. And so they set out to Mount Sasagiri to find him. But since Nezuko had to be protected from the sunshine, Tanjiro carries her in a big bucket. On the way there, they fight a random trash demon, which they can't even beat because all demons have regenerative abilities. Fair, but the sun takes care of that issue because all demons die from the sun. Also fair. After that, they meet Urodaki. The man is initially disappointed at Tanjiro for not being able to kill the demon they just faced, but then changes his mind because they killed the demon they just faced. With no weapons, by the way. At Urodaki's place, Tanjiro is informed of the Demon Slayer corpse, and if he seeks to become one, he has to pass the final selection. But Tanjiro had no experience with the sword whatsoever. So we get ourselves a training episode. So there are different challenges, and especially the final one where he has to cut a massive boulder in half. So 6 months pass by, but there's no progress. He meets some new friends that train with him, and after another 6 months of sword practice, he manages to cut the boulder in half. Urodaki is pleased with his progress and tells him to come back alive. Oh, those new friends, by the way? Yeah, they're actually Urodaki's long-deceased disciples. Spooky. And so, Tanjiro participates in the final selection alongside many others. The test is very simple. All they have to do is just survive for 7 days and they'll qualify to become demon slayers. Now, during those 7 days, Tanjiro runs into the demon who killed those 2 disciples of Urodaki, the hand demon. The demon was really smug about it, so Tanjiro used water-breathing first form and gets an easy one-shot. All in all, Tanjiro makes it through the 7 days still alive. Out of everyone who participated in the final selection, only 5 survived. There is Zenitsu, Kanao, Genya, and another quirky individual named Inosuke. These survivors are congratulated for finally becoming Demon Slayers as the lowest rank in the entire organization. Tanjiro then returns to Urodaki and Nezuko and collapses before reaching the entrance, only to then break into tears when Nezuko picks him up and embraces him. Urodaki is also relieved that Tanjiro survives and hugs them. Tanjiro gets his new sword and they set out for the first demon hunting mission. Their target is the Swamp Demon. He is the first demon that uses something known as a blood demon art. He is capable of splitting himself into 3 different selves and can also conjure up a swamp dimension to freely move through space. Cool ability, but he still got one shot. For the next mission, Tanjiro is tasked to go to a nearby town, and this is where he comes across the Master of Demons, Muzan, who is sporting a Michael Jackson look. Muzan is seemingly strolling through the festival together with his family, and this drives Tanjiro insane. He was obviously going to cause a big racket, and so, instead of attracting the attention to himself, Muzan just touches a random guy's neck and turns him into a demon. While he bails with his family, Tanjiro has to deal with the mess he created. Thankfully, a lady named Tamayo and a boy named Yushiro show up. She uses a spell to distract the police and ease the situation. As it turns out, they are also demons who retain their humanity. Meanwhile, two powerful demons are ordered to go and bring Tanjiro's head. So right when Tanjiro and Miss Tamayo are talking about how to turn a demon back into human, these two show up and announce that they are members of the 12 Kizuki, which are the 12 most powerful demons below Muzan. Both of them have a demon blood art. The one can create and control gravity-altering arrows with his hands, and the other one can create multiple handballs, which she can then throw as if they're cannonballs. Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Yushiro work together to create an opening for Tanjiro to use an improvised version of his water breathing and one-shot the arrow demon. But this battle alone took a major toll on all of them. They just did not have enough strength to fight off against another demon right now. After a football match between Nezuko and the ball demon, Miss Tamayo had a bright idea. She uses a hypnotizing scent to make the ball demon reveal information about Muzan. However, the moment she says the word Muzan, she instantly self-destructs. That happens because Muzan has placed a self-destruct curse on any demon that says his name. Oh, by the way, these two weren't part of the 12 Kizuki. They just lied. Next up, Tanjiro and Nezuko come across a guy named Zenitsu, though Tanjiro already knew him from the final selection. Zenitsu goes on a long rant about how his master forced him into becoming a demon slayer and how he'll never find a wife. In general, these are Zenitsu's cringe moments. And so he tags along for the next assignment. The group then reaches a strange-looking house where they find two kids outside who claim that their brother was abducted by a demon. Tanjiro and Zenitsu enter the house together with the kids, while Nezuko waits outside. But then, suddenly, the entire house turns into a maze that transforms to the sound of a drum. Tanjiro soon faces off against the drum demon, and it's during this fight that he also encounters Inosuke, who was also trying to take on these demons. As for this one's blood demon art, he has an ability that allows him to manipulate his surroundings using the 6 drums on his body. Meanwhile, Zenitsu encounters the tongue demon, and because he got extremely scared, his second persona took over and one-shot the demon. These are Zenitsu's cool moments. Tanjiro and Inosuke struggle a bit with the flip-flops, but it isn't long until the classic one-shot happens. After that, Tanjiro steps outside and sees Inosuke trying to kill Nezuko. The situation isn't really serious though, and with a punch and some talking, they sort it out. After that, the group gets a mission to go to a mountain where for some weird reason, demon slayers have been killing each other. After looking at the situation, Tanjiro realizes that they are being controlled by strings. What they're up against is a family of spider demons. Inosuke and Tanjiro first go up against the mother spider. Her demon blood art allows her to create a limitless amount of threads and spiders all over the mountain. She is the one who was making the demon slayers kill each other. However, she couldn't handle the pressure she was going through in this spider family and accepted the one-shot. Meanwhile, Zenitsu got bit by a poison spider and will most likely die. But then, cool Zenitsu takes over and uses the first form of thunder breathing, which is the epitome of one-shots. But he is still poisoned, and without an antidote, he just tries to slow down the poison by breathing calmly. Meanwhile, Inosuke gets beaten by the father spider. But the cavalry has arrived, in the form of Gyu, who does a smooth one-shot on the father demon, and a poison-focused demon slayer named Shinobu, who gives Zenitsu an antidote. But as Inosuke and Zenitsu were being helped, Tanjiro and Nezuko were caught up in a fight against the most powerful member of the spider family, Rui, who is an actual member of the 12 Kizuki. His blood demon art is thread manipulation, which he can use to cut off anything he wants, including Tanjiro's sword. During the battle, Nezuko blocks an attack headed towards Tanjiro, and Rui gets jealous of the bond Tanjiro and Nezuko share. So, he decides to cut down his own sister and asks Nezuko to be his new one. Good plan, Rui. Of course, Tanjiro was having none of Rui's nonsense, which results in Rui using a thread cage to rip apart all of Nezuko's limbs. Tanjiro is desperate. His sword is broken. But in that moment, he remembers that he is the main character and he has a flashback that teaches him his father's secret breathing technique. And so, using that memory as a trigger, he transforms his water breathing into fire breathing. Meanwhile, Nezuko also recalls a memory of her mother and uses that as a trigger to activate her own demon blood art, which ignites her blood. And so, together they go for the one-shot. Unfortunately, Rui survives. But Gyu is here, and as you can expect, he gets the one-shot. In the aftermath of this battle, Tanjiro is brought to the Hashira. These are the 9 strongest individuals in the Demon Slayer Corps. Every Hashira, except Gyu, disagrees with the idea of a Demon Slayer traveling with a demon. Fortunately, Urodaki had already sent a letter vouching for Nezuko. The Hashira were still skeptical though, so one of them tries to provoke Nezuko using his own blood. But despite the bait, Nezuko passes the test. This of course impresses everyone on the scene. Another thing that shocked them was the fact that Tanjiro had actually seen Muzan. Following this, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu have a training episode before the story transitions into high gear in Season 2. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more.